What if there was a road that didn't exist on any map? A road that only appears when the night is silent, when no one is around to see where it leads. Most people never find it, but some do. And when they come back, if they come back, they are never the same again. I never believed stories like this until it happened to me. Me and 9 of my friends had been planning a trip for months. We wanted to get away from work, stress, and the noise of the city. So we rented an old wooden lodge in northern Michigan, near Lake Michigan. Everyone said it was the perfect place to relax and forget about life for a while. And the first 2 days really were perfect. We spent our time fishing, hiking, cooking over an open fire, and watching the stars. It felt like we had left the world behind. But that last night, the air felt wrong. It was too quiet. Even the waves sounded slow and heavy, like something was breathing under the water. Around 1:30 in the morning, everyone started drifting off to their rooms to sleep. One by one, they left me and my closest friend sitting by the fire alone. Neither of us wanted to go inside yet. We just sat there in the darkness listening to the lake. Me and 9 of my friends had been planning a trip for months. We wanted to get away from work, stress, and the noise of the city. So we rented an old wooden lodge in northern Michigan near Lake Michigan. Everyone said it was the perfect place to relax and forget about life for a while. And the first 2 days really were perfect. We spent our time fishing, hiking, cooking over an open fire and watching the stars. It felt like we had left the world behind. But that last night, the air felt wrong. It was too quiet. Even the waves sounded slow and heavy, like something was breathing under the water. Around 1:30 in the morning, everyone started drifting off to their rooms to sleep. One by one, they left me and my closest friend sitting by the fire alone. Neither of us wanted to go inside yet. We just sat there in the darkness, listening to the lake. For a while, we didn't say anything. The flames were shrinking lower and lower, leaving more shadows around us. I remember feeling like the dark was getting thicker, pressing in from all sides. My friend looked over at me. His face looked pale in the glow of the last embers. He said quietly, "I feel hungry, really hungry, but it doesn't feel normal." I tried to smile, but my mouth felt dry. "You've been eating all day," I said. "We all have." He didn't smile back. "It's different," he said. "It feels like, I don't know, like I need to get out of here." I looked at the black water. I couldn't see it, but I could hear it moving, that slow, heavy sound. I felt it too, an emptiness in my stomach that didn't make sense, almost like something was whispering in my head. "Leave, now," I said. "We could go inside and grab food, but if we open that door, they'll all wake up." He didn't answer. He was staring at the trees past the edge of the firelight. Then he said, "There's a McDonald's over the bridge, the one in St. Ignace. It's open all night." I hesitated. Driving across the Mackinac Bridge in the middle of the night felt wrong, but sitting there any longer felt worse. My hunger was growing into something else, a cold pressure in my chest. I nodded. "Okay," I said, "let's go." We stood up. I didn't look back at the fire. I had this feeling, like if I turned around, I would see something standing in the dark, just beyond the last bit of light. We walked to the truck in silence. The gravel crunched under our shoes, and it felt too loud in the quiet night. I unlocked the doors, and for a second, I thought I heard something move behind the lodge. But when I turned, there was nothing. Just darkness pressing against the walls. I started the engine and the headlights lit up the empty parking lot. As we pulled out onto the main road, I kept waiting to see another car, but there were no headlights, no taillights. Just black pavement stretching ahead of us. The closer we got to the Mackinac Bridge, the colder the air felt. By the time we reached the entrance, my hands were shaking on the wheel. The bridge looked endless. Steel beams reached up into the sky and vanished in the darkness. Wind was blowing so hard it made the truck sway. It felt like the whole structure was alive, breathing and watching. My friend hadn't said a word since we left the lodge. He was sitting with his arms folded, staring straight ahead. beyond the last bit of light. After we crossed, I let out a shaky breath. At least we were almost there. The GPS screen said 14 minutes to McDonald's. That number felt comforting, like a promise we'd be back soon. But after a minute, the directions started changing. Turn left, turn right, turn around. Then the screen blinked and froze for a second before reloading. I slowed down, thinking maybe it was just losing signal. But the longer we drove, the narrower the road became. The trees leaned in close, branches brushing the windows like hands. The headlights picked up patches of fog drifting across the ground. The air smelled damp, almost metallic. I looked at the clock on the dashboard. It still said the same time it had back at the lodge. I swallowed hard. My phone was dead too. No service, no battery warning, just a black screen. My friend finally spoke. "Something's wrong," he whispered. "Yeah," I said, "I know." After maybe 10 more minutes, the pavement turned into cracked dirt. The truck bumped over potholes that looked decades old. I slowed almost to a crawl, afraid of getting stuck. Then the headlights hit something up ahead, a huge iron gate. It was at least 12 feet tall, chained shut with thick, rusty links. No fence attached, no private property sign, nothing but that gate, standing alone in the trees. I stopped the truck. For a second, neither of us moved. Then, all at once, we felt the front end drop. The truck slammed down onto something under the tires. I turned off the engine and opened my door slowly. The cold hit me so hard, my breath caught in my chest. I crouched and brushed dirt away with my hand. A massive stone was buried under a thin layer of soil. It had been put there on purpose, like someone was waiting for us to come this way. I climbed back into the cab and locked the doors. The air inside felt even colder than outside. I tried the ignition, but the engine just made a slow clicking noise. My friend sat perfectly still, staring at the passenger side mirror. After a long minute, he whispered, "There's breathing." My hands froze on the keys. "Where?" I asked, though I didn't want the answer. "Right behind the truck." I turned slowly, but the rear window showed only darkness. No movement, no shape, just black. Then I heard it too. A slow inhale, a long, soft exhale, close enough it should have fogged the glass. And then a laugh. A deep, old man's laugh that sounded dry as dust. It wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. It went straight down my spine. I turned the key again. This time, the engine made a low, grinding sound, like something inside it was stuck. I tried one more time. Nothing. I could feel my heartbeat in my throat. My friend closed his eyes. He didn't open them again. He just whispered, "Please, just try again." I took a deep breath and turned the key one last time. The engine roared awake like it was angry. I didn't waste a second. I put it in reverse and started backing up inch by inch. The road behind us was so narrow that the side mirrors almost scraped the trees. My friend held his phone out the window, shining the flashlight at the ground so I could see where the wheels were. Every time a branch touched the truck, I jumped. Every sound felt too close. I was sure any second we'd see someone or something step into the headlights. About halfway back to the pavement, I saw a faint glow between the trees. At first I thought it was another car. Then I saw more lights. Small, floating orbs moving slowly through the woods. One was pale yellow, one was bright white, and one was a deep, electric blue that made the trees around it shimmer. They weren't headlights. They weren't flashlights. They moved too smoothly, like they were alive. My friend pulled his arm back in and locked his door. Neither of us spoke. We just kept backing up, yard by yard, while those lights drifted closer. Just before the tires reached the edge of the asphalt, the scream came. It didn't sound human. It sounded like every voice in the world was crying out at once. Men, women, children, layered together in a single, endless wail. The whole truck shook. I felt the scream inside my bones. I pressed the gas pedal as hard as I could. The truck lurched backward onto the pavement. I spun the wheel, turned the truck around, and drove forward without looking back. The trees vanished behind us. The lights disappeared. The scream faded like it had never happened. We didn't stop at McDonald's. We didn't speak. We drove all the way back across the Mackinac Bridge in silence. When we reached the lodge, the lights looked warm and safe. I parked the truck and turned off the engine. Neither of us moved for a long time. Eventually, we went inside. The fire was cold. Everyone was asleep. No one ever asked where we had been. Since that night, I have never gone back to northern Michigan. And every time someone says, "It's just an empty road," I feel my chest tighten. Because some roads don't go anywhere you want to find. Some roads are only there to remind you that you are never really alone in the dark.